Can I tell you what I think is the single biggest mistake business owners are making right now? If you're in real estate, you probably noticed that every morning seems to bring another major headline. Compass, Rocket, Zillow, Remax, EXP. It goes on. Somebody's buying somebody, somebody's suing somebody, somebody's predicting the end of the industry as we know it. Every news outlet seems to be telling us that everything is changing. And if you're not paying attention, you're about to become roadkill. Hey, before you click away from this video because you're not in real estate, stay with me because in this video, I'm going to discuss what to focus on instead of being distracted by all the noise. And that skill doesn't matter what industry you're in. We're all watching the exact same movie. Different companies, different logos, different headlines, but it's the same message. Everything is going to change and you better do something right now. After 43 years in business, I've come to know the one truth that the only constant is change, and that change is coming whether we want it or not. So here's the deal. Change is not the biggest threat to your business. The biggest threat, the one that can blow you up in a heartbeat, is where you choose to focus your attention. Let me say that again. The biggest threat to your business is where you choose to focus your attention. Thankfully, I've seen this movie before. Long before I entered real estate, I spent nearly 2 decades in the commercial printing industry. I distinctly remember sitting in a management meeting and the boss pounding the table about how our industry was changing faster than anyone else's, how new technology was replacing old equipment, bemoaning the fact that companies were merging and how competitors were disappearing. Even outside the office, every conference I attended back in those days seemed to revolve around who was buying who and what it meant for the future. Some truth, a lot of it, just distraction. Sound familiar? Yeah. Every generation believes its disruption is unprecedented. The longer I've been in business, the more I've realized that headlines change far more often than principles do. That's why I want to bring a little perspective, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the noise. The fact is that businesses rarely fail simply because another company got bigger. They fail because they slowly stopped paying attention to what matters, the people who made them successful in the first place. Here's what I mean. It's perfectly reasonable to stay informed about your industry. You should always be aware of what's happening around you. It's important to understand trends and be aware of changes that may impact your business. That's for sure. But somewhere along the way, many business owners and professionals cross an invisible line. They move from being informed to becoming distracted, kind of like binge watching Netflix. Instead of saying, how can I better serve my consumers? They begin asking, what are my competitors doing? Instead of studying their own business, they spend hours studying someone else's. Instead of improving their communications, their systems, or their leadership, they become armchair analysts of industries they have absolutely zero control over. I watched it happen for decades, and I have to admit, I've been guilty of some of it myself from time to time. It feels productive because we feel like we're consuming real business information. It feels responsible because we feel like we're staying current. But if we're honest, most of what we read, the stuff that's presented to us as gospel by the news outlets, has very little impact on the decisions we need to make to actually move our personal business forward. Think about your own customers for a minute. Do they really care who acquired who? Do they care about the latest executive shuffle? Do they spend their evenings reading trade publications? Of course they don't. They're wondering whether you'll return their phone call. They're wondering whether you'll tell them the truth. They're wondering whether you'll solve their problem. They're wondering whether they can trust you. They are wondering what you can do for them. One of the most expensive myths in business is that success comes from keeping up with everyone else. But success only comes from becoming exceptionally good at serving the people right in front of you, the ones that know you, love you, and trust you. Those people are the ones you need to pay attention to. Consumers are remarkably consistent. They may use different technology today than they did 20 years ago, but human nature hasn't changed. People still want honesty. They want value competence. They still value responsiveness. They still remember the people who treated them well. Granted, technologies change. Markets change. Companies change. But people don't change nearly as much as we like to think they do. That's why I believe where you place your attention matters so much. If your attention is consumed by headlines, you'll eventually begin reacting to everyone else's strategy. If your attention is consumed by your customers, you'll begin anticipating their needs. I've known business owners who could reel off every acquisition in their industry over the past 5 years, but could not tell you the 5 biggest frustrations their consumers experience every day. Point blank, that is a clear signal of a business that is soon to fail. The businesses that endure aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest marketing budgets or the flashiest announcements. They're the ones that quietly become indispensable to their customers. They answer the phone. They keep their promises. They fix problems quickly. They admit mistakes. They earn trust, one interaction at a time. And none of that makes the news. But those are the habits that build companies capable of surviving every headline that comes along. When I founded Benchmark Realty over 20 years ago, we didn't spend our time wondering about what every other brokerage was doing. We spent our time asking a much simpler question. What does the consumer actually need that they're not getting? The answer to that one question guided us in every decision we made. Not because we were smarter than everyone else, but because we worked hard to keep our attention focused in the right direction. I think that's a critically important lesson for younger entrepreneurs, especially regardless of your industry or your geographic market. The world has never offered more distractions than it does today. Every time you pick up your phone, someone is trying to convince you that the latest trend, the newest technology, or the biggest industry announcement should completely reshape your thinking. Sometimes those developments do matter. More often than not, they don't. What always matters is whether you're becoming more valuable to your customer. Are you learning to communicate better? Are you becoming a stronger leader? Are you developing greater wisdom? Are you building deeper relationships? Are you creating an experience that people want to come back to? These are the questions that have a compound effect over time. And here's the beautiful thing about focusing there. Your competitors cannot stop you. They can buy another company. They can raise more capital. They can launch bigger advertising campaigns, but they can never prevent you from becoming more valuable to your customer unless you allow it. So the next time your phone lights up with another breaking industry headline, read it. It's okay. Learn from it. Then close it up. Because somewhere out there is a customer who couldn't care less about that headline. They just want someone who will answer the phone, tell them the truth, and solve their problems. Be that person. You'll still be in business long after today's headlines have become tomorrow's history. Those ordinary decisions, repeated consistently over time, will have far more impact on your future than anything you'll read on a headline this year. The companies making news today won't be the companies making news 10 years from now. That's pretty much a guarantee. But the businesses that relentlessly serve people well, they have an amazing way of surviving every business cycle. By all means, stay informed. Just don't become distracted. Your competitors don't determine your future. The headlines don't determine your future. The market doesn't determine your future. Only you can do that. I've lived through enough business cycles to know this. Headlines change, principles don't. Build your business on principles. If this message resonated with you, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Let's not keep this channel a secret either. Share this video with somebody who needs to hear it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you want me to talk about next. And if you'd like to go deeper into lessons learned through decades of wins, losses, leadership battles, and hard-earned experience from a serial entrepreneur, check out my book, Failing My Way to Success. You can learn more by hitting this QR code or visiting my website, phillipcantrell.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.